good afternoon, everyone. Pat Zemer here with MagnaWave, with the MagnaWave Wellness webinar today, dealing with bone healing and regrowth. This is a presentation that was made at MagnaCon this year about a horse. The horse name was Amiga and belonged to one of our practitioners, Verlinda Thompson in Texas. And she and her partner, Dr. Meyers, who is an MD, will document with x-rays and the whole 9 yards the process that they use to save Amiga. It's a dynamic, dramatic presentation, so I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions along the way, post them into the chat box, and I'll do my best to answer them as we go. So look forward to having you enjoy this webinar. So here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friend, we met at marketing meetings years ago. Verlinda Thompson, Dr. Amanda Meyers.
So I am wearing these box socks.
Oh, look at you!
And I'm okay with public speaking, but when I put these on, I was like, this is very weird. It's the first time I've ever put them on. So thanks to Angela and Beth Ann for introducing us to them. So this did not start out as a case study. This started out with tears and angst of potentially euthanizing my horse. And so what ended up happening was it became a case study because we were successful. So it does have a happy ending, but it's also a very interesting process that we learned a lot, and I think it's great for new practitioners or seasoned practitioners to see what happened in our attempt to change the process of. So this was quite a year ago, and Amiga's a 10-year-old female horse. We think she got caught in barbed wire. We tried to get all the barbed wire off of her ranch in Texas, so we couldn't find where this happened. But when she just showed up out of the pasture, just shredded. And so the theory was that you can see this is a photo of her back right leg, or back right hoof, which was the most significant injury that she had. It was cut almost in half. My dad is a veterinarian. Thank God. I'm very lucky to have a MD and a DVM surrounding me, which makes my practice much easier. So we had veterinary care for her every day throughout this situation. We, of course, did breeder wounds, we did Furicin, we did penicillin injections with her, Banamine for pain and inflammation, and then Rompon for pain and just a light sedation whenever we cleaned her. She was she was shaking kind of pain. So we tried to do everything we could to change that for her. The MagnaWave protocol that we started with was to butterfly her foot for 30 minutes, to use the paddle for her lacerations for 10 minutes, and we were doing that every 3 to 4 days because initially, when Pat talks about MagnaWave, he talks about that the benefits last 24 to 36 hours from when you do the treatment, and then, you might not need to treat every day. So that's kind of where we were starting theory on how we were treating Amiga. So that's just another shot of that foot, so you can see how deep that gash was. This was the day it happened still, and so are these other two pictures. That's her front leg on top, and then her rear leg on the bottom. And then, of course, they were all down her belly and stomach, and it was pretty horrific to see your horse come up like this. So this is what it looked like. How we were treating her back foot. And I use a Velcro strap. If you can see the black on the back there, I use Velcro straps on my own horses that I know, like, and trust. I wouldn't recommend it on horses you don't know, like, and trust, because when I was starting out and I didn't understand this, I had a 33-year-old horse that I was treating who could barely walk. So I thought, well, this is not a horse that's really going to do anything. The coil and the lead on the coil, kind of brushed up against him. He thought it was a snake or something like that. He took off running with my So thankfully, that had a happy ending as well. But just so you guys know, it's a good way to keep that closed around it. Yeah. So this was 4 days later. You can, it's really pink. We're all like, yes, we are kicking its butt. Everyone's happy. Show the next one, please. You can see that she's here. It's marginal that she is doing just a little bit better there. So we're all like, great direction. 3 weeks later, in August, you can see here that she's starting to shift in her spine a little bit there. She was starting to go off of her feed. She became more and more non-weight bearing. She really was a horse, which of course is not compatible long-term with life for horses. So because she was laying down a ton, I started to get pressure sores that I was trying to then MagnaWave and fix. So we did another round of antibiotics. So we did Baytril this time to see if we could change the course of the direction that Amiga was heading. So about 2 weeks later, I had a vet come out that had an x-ray machine and shoot some x-rays of Amiga because, again, she was becoming more and more non-weight bearing. So the 2 x-rays that they shot, the lateral and a posterior, and I'm going to let Amanda use the pointer and kind of talk about this because I have her, so why wouldn't I?
Yeah. So just for orientation, cannon bone here, sesamoid, this is the long pastern, the short, and then the pedal or the coffin bone down here, navicular there. As you can see, we've got just destruction of the whole entire coffin bone when we look at it on the lateral, and when you look at the front to back or the AP shot, again, long, short, and then this whole mess is the coffin bone. And we weren't sure if that was injury that had a fracture or a broken component initially, whether it was infection. You can see just the enormous amount of soft tissue here. This is just big soft tissue swelling above as well, so just a large degree of swelling. We did have a considerable amount of infection and drainage and pus coming out, so the question was this broken down because the bone was infected and we had an osteomyelitis going on? Or was it just the pressure weight of, the transition of this bone down crushing through the coffin bone? So not the picture we wanted to find, that's for sure.
So we got a new MagnaWave protocol really quickly. And so this is what we started doing, was we were butterflying her foot we were trying to do it every day. Every once in a while, I wouldn't get it that day, so I would skip one day. But it was pretty close to every day I was able to MagnaWave her. I was using the large loop on the back of her leg to make sure that I was getting good blood flow down to that hoof as well. I wasn't using the paddle to go up because I had the large loop on her hip and down her leg, and then I had the butterfly around it because I wanted to make sure facing the entire injury inside the coil. And then we were doing the large loops down her back to try to give her spine support and her stomach, of course, because what I found on many animals that I treat is that they eat better after they've MagnaWaved. I mean, like immediately, if like cats particularly. When I MagnaWave, if they're older or sick and I MagnaWave them, they almost immediately, if you put food in front of them, will eat after that. So we were doing a lot of alfalfa extra support cubes with her, and after we MagnaWaved her stomach, if I gave her the cubes, she would eat them. So that was one of the big reasons we were doing that. And then, of course, trying to support her head because I started. I know. Yeah, it was horrific to see this. You can see the pus coming out of it. So this is the worst case scenario of where we were. Now, at this point, I had my dad. I had the vet that came out and shot the x-rays. I had 3 other vet consults on her, and all 5 of them said, euthanize. Put her down. This is not going to get better. The coffin bone is being eaten away. Then the bone on top of the coffin bone will come down and come through the foot, and it's going to be horrific. She's going to be in terrible pain. Euthanize her. And God love Amanda. because we had a big powwow about midnight with Amiga and my dad. My dad saying, let's not put her through this anymore. And Amiga, of course, is looking like hell. And Amanda's like, are you guys kidding me? You have MagnaWave. MagnaWave is clinically and FDA approved to regrow bone. Do not do this. And then she looked at me and she said, you get off your ass and get out there and MagnaWave that horse every day. And so that's what we did. So we're going to go through some now, and it's going to be, I'm sorry the dates because of the projection are on the top, but so we're just going to kind of show you chronologically every few days what it looked like. So that's October 4th. There's Amiga going, what? You're a pediatrician. What are you doing here? So the 13th of October. So we're still, and what was ending up happening was we were still getting just every once in a while, just continually we were getting these pockets that kept breaking open. And you can see the drainage coming out of them. And so we just kept MagnaWaving. Now, I put this picture in here because I wanted you guys to see, because I was by myself a lot, and it was, a lot of these shots are at midnight because I've been working all day and then I need to treat my horse. So I bungee corded. So what I did was I took the 2 large loops, because this is before they had wings that I could get my hands on, right? So I have 2 large loops that I Velcro together, so I make my own wings, and then so you can see that black Velcro across her back. So that's my they're large loops, but they look tiny compared to the wings. So then I move that up and down her back, and then I just flipped it around and then bungee corded it, and then that's how I treated her stomach. So I'm using the Max on her now.
With the splitter?
Yes.
Well, no, because I'm using the Max, and then we got the Maya in September. So right after this happened, we went ahead and got a second machine. So then I was running 2 machines on her. So I had the Maya that I was using up and down her back, and I had the Max on her foot because I wanted the most, and I had it as high as it would go because I wanted the most power that I could get to her.
She would tolerate.
Okay. Now you can see here that we're starting to grow new hoof quite a bit. And it's going to become more and more obvious. So I think there was already something in the community about a couple of farriers have been just wowed by how fast her hoof grows. But they will regrow a completely new hoof, which you'll see as we go. So you can see her old hoof, but you can also see the swelling, it's diminishing, and we're getting a little bit better tissue looking. So this is November. So this is the last shot that we took before I x-rayed her, because the agreement that I kind of made with her and with myself and with my dad was that we would give her 2 months of continuous MagnaWave. She was still non-weight, because I'm keeping her alive, right, for 8 weeks on 3 legs. So that was the agreement. And so when the agreement was when I shot the second set of x-rays, if the bone had not regrown and she was not weight bearing by that time, then the vet came to have her euthanized. So I cheated just a little because I was really supposed to do it. I gave her 2 extra weeks. So these are the x-rays from November 14th. And you can, and I'm going to let Amanda point out, but you can see completely that it has calcified and regrown in that coffin bone area.
So again on this lateral image, this is the long pasture and the short coming down, but we've got nice cortical edge all here that we didn't really have before. And although it looks not fantastic over in here, we still have a nice edge that's growing here. And we've almost center part that has still a little bit of possibly infection or possibly just weight-bearing injury on that section itself. And then just to kind of re-show you where we started, in this zone that was just completely, cracked through, crushed, and then this is the new image here, where we've got some nice cortical sort of evolution. And then in the posterior component, this nice thick bone area here, whereas all of this was just open and crushed before.
So the same vet came out to shoot these x-rays because I hadn't talked to her at all. And when she came out to shoot those x-rays, she just didn't even know what to say. And I said, well, what do you think? And she said, Some nice calcification. So this was the pictures where you can see now where we've got all of the old hoof there and the new hoof that has come in above it. So this was the last set of x-rays that I had. We wanted one more set because at this point I knew that she was safe and I knew that I wasn't going to have to euthanize her. And so I knew at this point that I could then write it up, right? Because I like happy endings. So so we shot this last one, number one, just so we'd have another set, but number two, because I had the trimmer coming to the farrier coming to trim her, and we wanted to make sure that he could see really clearly where the bone was with the hoof.
So here, I didn't know if we were going to go through it, but this is really nice bone growth down here. Still, we have some injury going on in the posterior component, so we still continue to MagnaWave off and on. But certainly this front and sort of low base side is looking nice cortical organization.
And at this point, I've backed off on the MagnaWave because she looks great. Her weight is back where it needs to be. So now we're at MagnaWaving her about once a week. So this was trim. So when he came to trim her, of course, he, right? You know, like this. And she was not happy about that at all. So he did give her a light sedative, but that was my cue of, okay, I need to do a little bit more work there to get her flexibility back in that joint. So we started doing more. She was more comfortable. I want y'all to see it because that looks funky. That is just a funky, funky foot. And so I wanted you guys to see her walk on it for the first time.
How old was your horse?
10. New foot. So this was March 17th. Happy birthday, Pat. And she's just so happy and grateful. No. We never put her on small rest. She was out. Now, she was in a compound, so I would say that she was on about an acre that was fenced in. But yeah. And this was the day before. Look how good it looks. Okay, now show her killing the next. These are the last videos. So that's my dad. That day. Just wanted to walk.
What did your dad think?
Oh, he was blown away.
Where's the tissues?
And Dad thought she was going to run towards me. So then we repositioned because.
What a neat story.
And finally, the last slide for you guys that want the woo-woo factor, because I love some woo-woo with MagnaWave, the magic box. I had a friend of mine who's a professional photographer come out in September and shoot photos for me of Amiga because I was afraid that I was going to need to euthanize her, and I wanted, in case that happened. And so Carissa came out and shot these 2 images and then emailed them to me and said, hey, these are the 2 pictures that I shot. Let me know what you think. And I called her back and I was like, did you Photoshop this photo? And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, Carissa, did you look at the photos? And she said, well, not exactly. She was shooting photos for my mom too. She said, not exactly. I said, go back and look at these photos and then call me back. And she calls me back and she's like, oh my God. So you can see in the first photo where Amiga's looking away and not engaged, that it just is a regular kind of photo, although it's got just a little bit you can see here, right? Yeah. But then, do you see all of that healing light?
Yes. Wow. All around. That's her aura.
It's a beautiful MagnaWave healing aura.
Beautiful.
And it says Amiga.
That was incredible. What do you think?
We need the tissue.
Yeah, and I think that that Western Horseman is going to write her up.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But I wanted to show it to you guys first.
Oh, glad
There you have it. Really, when I see things like that, it just ties me up because it's just amazing to see what can be achieved and how well this type of device can work. The MagnaWave PEMF can work to promote healing and wellness. It's just amazing. When people, small animals, large animals, we love it. We love helping, and that's a great story with Verlinda Thompson, a practitioner, her partner, Dr. Meyers, and they did wonderful work, and we're looking forward to being in Western Horseman. If you have any questions, please let us know, and we'd be happy to answer them at any time. So thanks for being with me this afternoon. Enjoy, and have a great day. Bye-bye.